Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Two weather makers for us. Number one is this front that's likely to bring us some rain in the next couple of hours. We'll walk through it on Futurecast.
And a new traffic pattern, how a major change at a busy intersection on I-40 could make your drive smoother. Plus, it's tournament time. Today, UNC and NC State are both battling for a spot in the next big round. A lot of basketball news to talk about this morning on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 50. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Let's get right over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's beautiful now, but we are expecting a little bit of rain later on, Elizabeth.
Here's that front, and on the south end of the front, a lot of lightning and thunder, even some severe storms down along the Gulf Coast. But we haven't seen that across our viewing area. Certainly possible that we would have some rumbles of thunder with this, but you can see here some of the rain starting to move into Greensboro. This is going to be Alamance County. It's not too far from the western part of our viewing area. As a matter of fact, we may see some of that in our western counties by the time we get to around 10 a.m. Right through the triangle area, the bulk of it's going to be between 11 and 2, and then we could see a few isolated showers or thunderstorms behind that main band. This is not going to be a band of severe weather, just some rain that rolls through. Here's a live look at Apex. It is not going to be a big deal for our morning commute really anywhere. And by the time we get to the evening commute, most of it is over. It is going to be breezy. We have a southwest wind currently at 13. We may see gusts up to 20, 25 miles per hour later today. Right now, our temperature is close to 60 and our high this afternoon near 69. I'll show you how much rain we could see total coming up. Chris?
And Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. One of the crashes we're following is this one that you see the major backups with. I-87 westbound connecting to I-440. This is if you're coming in from Zebulon and Knightdale. One of the alternate routes you can take if you're on I-87, you can head toward Hodge Road. You could also do I-540 and then connect to the Beltline from there, because this is, again, causing some backups that you see there on the traffic sensors. You can also see that at I-87 at New Hope Road. Unfortunately, the camera is a little out of focus, but you do see some of the flashing lights and the big backup that is causing in the eastern part of Wake County so far this morning. Let's talk about the delay right now. It's at about 7 minutes if you're coming in from I-87 and heading toward the Beltline. I would imagine that delay may be a little bit more than what the traffic sensor is indicating there. Elsewhere in the area, we have another crash being reported on I-540 near Creedmoor Road. You see a little bit of a delay as you're going westbound there, and then also taking you into Cary. This is right by the Wake Memorial Park. This is going to be Sears Farm Road and Green Hope School Road. So we're going to follow those and update you throughout the morning, not just here on TV, but on the radio on 101.5 HD3.
All right, thanks, Chris. Happening right now, a new traffic pattern open on Airport Boulevard on I-40. It's a diverging diamond where cars actually drive on the left-hand side of the road. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at Airport Boulevard this morning with a look at the traffic flow. Kelsey, the DOT hopes that this will improve safety.
That's the goal, Michelle, starting today. Folks, morning commute here on Airport Boulevard will look a little bit different. So you can see here that the road is back open now after crews did some hard work over the weekend. This Sky 5 video will show you where the diverging diamond is located. NCDOT closed the Airport Boulevard Bridge over I-40 to complete the finishing touches. The diverging diamond will keep traffic flowing for drivers who are entering and exiting the interstate, and it will eliminate the need for a left turn against oncoming traffic. It's designed to speed up traffic flow and reduce the chance for crashes. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on this new traffic pattern throughout the morning, but so far we haven't seen any issues. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
Evacuation orders are in place in western North Carolina as 3 wildfires are burning thousands of acres. The NC Forestry Service says the fire started in the Green River Gorge area of Polk County. They say the steep terrain is making it challenging to fight the fires. Damage the area suffered from Helene is also making it difficult to access the area. The fires have burned more than 2,300 acres and are 0% contained. A code red air quality alert is in effect for Polk County. And a fire in County north of the Triad has burned more than 276 acres. North Carolina Forestry has a crew there helping local responders trying to contain it. Fire officials say weather conditions are hampering their efforts. The fire is 50% contained. And South Carolina is under a state of emergency as a wildfire has burned more than 1,000 acres at Table Rock State Park. That's in the northwestern part of the state. The local sheriff says the fire was caused by a campfire started by two negligent hikers. And we are asking Raleigh police whether two crashes that happened just minutes apart and left 3 people dead are connected. The first crash happened at 3:41 Sunday morning on Gorman Street at Kaplan Drive. Police say 23-year-old Pierre Louis DeMorgus was on an e-scooter when a driver hit him from behind. DeMorgus died at the scene. The driver did not stop. And just 3 minutes later, a head-on crash happened on I-40 East near Gorman Street. Police say 27-year-old Jonathan Perry turned onto I-40 from Gorman Street in the wrong direction. He hit a car being driven by 37-year-old Elena Matthews. Both drivers were killed. Police say Perry had an odor of alcohol and an open container was at his feet. Letters carriers in the Triangle and nationwide are rallying in support of the Postal Service. President Donald Trump has suggested on several occasions that he wants to privatize the Postal Service. Postal workers gathered on New Bern Avenue yesterday to stand against dismantling the nearly 250-year-old public institution. The Board of Governors of the U.S. Postal Service has retained outside counsel against any potential executive order that would target the USPS. Well, Duke will play in the NCAA tournament's round of 16. The top-seeded Blue Devils will play 4-seed Arizona, who beat Oregon in the final game of the round of 32. Duke and Arizona will tip off at 9:39 Thursday night in Newark. Duke advanced with an 89-66 win over Baylor Sunday at Lenovo Center. If the Blue Devils can get past Arizona, they'll play either Alabama or BYU in the round of 8. On Saturday. And the Duke women are also going to the round of 16. They advanced with a 59-53 win over Oregon yesterday at Cameron Indoor Stadium. They'll play the winner of today's game between UNC and West Virginia in the next round. And UNC and NC State are both aiming for a spot in the round of 16 today. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from Reynolds Coliseum at NC State. And Laura, both teams are playing on their home courts in this tournament round.
Fans will not have to travel far to cheer on these local teams. Number 2, NC State will take on number 7, Michigan State here at Reynolds Coliseum later today. Tip-off is set for noon for the second round of the women's NCAA tournament. NC State is undefeated here at home this season. Meanwhile, Michigan State is 5-5 on the road. This comes after NC State crushed Vermont over the weekend, 75-55. Now over to UNC women's team. The third-seeded Tar Heels are set to square off with number 6 seed West Virginia in the second round of NCAA play. That game begins at 7 p.m. at Carmichael Arena in Chapel Hill. A spot in the Sweet 16 is on the line for these teams. For UNC, it would be their first trip past the first weekend of the tournament since 2022. So the winner of this game will advance to play Duke on Friday. That game will take place in Birmingham, Alabama. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And we will have reports later today from Reynolds Coliseum after NC State's game and from Carmichael Arena ahead of UNC's tip-off. Watch WRAL News from 4 to 7:30 this evening. Well, Pope Francis is waking up in the Vatican this morning for the first time in 5 weeks. The Holy Father was released from the hospital yesterday. You can see Pope Francis here on the balcony waving to the crowd below. The 88-year-old pontiff will still need time to recover from his respiratory infection and double pneumonia. In a prayer released, the Pope says, "In this long time of hospitalization, I have been able to experience the Lord's patience." Well, coming up, IRS and ICE. A surprising partnership could be on the horizon. But what does it mean for your privacy? Plus, a recall alert, over 200,000 scooters being pulled from the market. Why and how to stay safe? Elizabeth?
And our next 2 weather makers. First, the rain that's about to roll into our viewing area. I'll show you what time it arrives. And then when the 80s are back in our forecast. Coming up.
8:12 on your Monday morning as you take a live look over Durham. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. Starting to cloud up just a little bit. We are expecting some rain showers to start moving in. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is here to walk us through when we are going to see that with a look around town.
Yeah, it's going to be right in the middle of the day. We definitely need some rain, so it's good to see this. It's not going to be a whole lot. We'll walk through how much we'll see. But before the rain begins, we're starting to see the clouds thickening up, especially here in Chapel Hill. A little bit of sunshine kind of here on the buildings on Franklin Street, but look off into the distance. As a matter of fact, it's only a county or two away, and you can see those gray skies there in Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. Same thing kind of in Apex, not quite as dark as Apex, just some cloud cover filtering in there in Fayetteville. And here at the airport, we got to take off. Look at that. Cool. You can actually see a little hole in the clouds right there, but it's not going to last long. The most dangerous part of the storm has been down here near the Gulf Coast. Notice that orange shaded area. That's where we have a severe thunderstorm watch. We've had some thunderstorms along that line from Atlanta southward. We haven't seen really any lightning here in North Carolina yet, but we might. It's not likely to be anything severe. We'll zoom in and take a look at dual Doppler 5000 radar. All right, here's Greensboro. So the rain started to move into Greensboro and Reedsville. Over here, this is going to be Person County. We'll really start to see this probably in Orange County first, and then Chatham County, and then it will continue to slide eastward. It's going to be a band of rain that's fairly steady. This is a look at Futurecast, and it shows it arriving here by 8 a.m. Of course, it's 8:15, so it's running a little bit slower than the model, but expect by 9 to 10 o'clock we could see some of the rain in the viewing area. It's right through the middle of the viewing area at lunchtime, and then it slides eastward. But once the main band moves eastward, there could still see we could still see a pop-up cell or two. It's not likely to be anything that causes a lot of problems. So it is not going to be a washout, but keep the umbrellas handy for lunchtime, because that's going to be when we'll see the best chance for rain. It's not a lot. We're looking at maybe around 1/10 of an inch, which is about it. And we could definitely use some rain. It'll be inconvenient for some folks. If you're headed out to the NC State game, of course, the NCAA women's teams are playing at Reynolds Coliseum at noon. That's going to be a bit wet getting to and from the Coliseum there. And at 7 o'clock, Carolina, that game should be mainly dry, so no problem there. Temperatures will start to cool down later in the week. Our overnight low in the 30s there. On Thursday, we'll show you how close that is to normal. Coming up, Chris.
And Elizabeth, this morning in the traffic center, keeping an eye on this crash. That's I-540 westbound at Creedmoor Road. This is in pretty much the northern part of Wake County. Give you a look at a camera that's at least somewhat close to there. It's I-540 at Six Forks Road, and you can see that exit marker there says Raleigh and Creedmoor about a mile away. So this is a little over a mile away from that accident site, and thankfully not seeing any kind of major backups that extend that far. Good news on the crash that we were reporting, I-87 connecting to I-440 in eastern Wake County. That crash has since cleared. Maybe some residual delays, but I give you a live look right at where that crash was. I-87 at New Hope Road, and things are flowing a lot more smoothly than they were just about 15 minutes ago. We'll take you into Cary now, where there's a report of a crash at Sears Farm Road and Green Hope School Road. This is at the Wake Memorial Park, not far from Green Hope High School. Not seeing any kind of major delays, as that's really off some of the major roads. In terms of any delays, some of your typical spots coming in from Wake Forest, coming in from Knightdale, about an 8-minute delay heading into the capital city. If that changes, we'll let you know on the radio, 101.5 HD3, anywhere in the Triangle.
All right, thank you, Chris. This week, you have more chances to learn about property reappraisal in Durham. The city will hold an information session from noon to 4:30 today at North Regional Library. Another is scheduled for tomorrow from 10 to 3 at East Regional Library. Sessions will also be held Wednesday and Thursday at Admin Building 2, as well as Friday at South Regional Library. And today, the Wake County Board of Commissioners Education Committee meets. They'll get an update on the funding that's needed for the county's Smart Start program. They'll also discuss the status of the Child Nutrition Services program. The meeting gets started at 2 o'clock this afternoon. A lane of I-85 will be closed for about 6 hours today for work to repair potholes. Crews will be working on the right lane of I-85 South between the Gate 1 Road and Redwood Road exits from 9 to 3 today. That includes over the Falls Lake Bridge. Drivers should allow for extra time and use caution when driving through a work zone. And tonight, Wake County Exchange Clubs are hosting an annual law enforcement event. It's happening at 6:30 at Cary Presbyterian Church. Officers from 12 Wake County police departments will be honored. And tomorrow, NC State will officially introduce Will Wade as the Wolfpack's next men's basketball coach. Wade is coming from McNeese State. He led the Cowboys to the NCAA tournament in each of the last 2 seasons. They beat Clemson in the first round this year before losing to Purdue on Saturday. He has also coached at Chattanooga, VCU, and LSU. Wade signed a 6-year agreement with NC State pending approval by the Board of Trustees. He'll be introduced at Reynolds Coliseum at 1 o'clock tomorrow. A Garner man says a vandal targeted his Tesla. The man, who did not want to go on camera, says someone etched the word Nazi on his car. It's believed that these attacks nationwide are linked to Tesla founder Elon Musk's role in recent cuts to federal government programs. Jeremy says that he purchased the vehicle long before any controversy surrounding Musk.
So this was definitely back in the time when Elon was just some guy tweeting about, rocket motors and fast cars, and wasn't problematic at that time.
As of now, no arrests have been made in connection to the damages. Well, the IRS is negotiating a partnership with ICE to help with immigration enforcement. The agency usually guards tax filer information from disclosure, but as Amy Kiley reports, working with immigration officials could represent a loosening of those protections.
I have real privacy concerns here.
The IRS and Department of Homeland Security appear closer to finalizing an information sharing agreement. A person familiar with the matter says it would enable ICE to submit names and addresses of people who might be in the U.S. illegally. The source says the IRS could then cross-reference and confirm that information.
The goal of this appears to be speeding up President Trump's deportation effort.
The president's supporters say his immigration policies are what voters want.
You have an administration and a president that is strong in their conviction that they have a mandate from the voters to act, particularly on the issue of illegal immigration.
Critics say involving the IRS could endanger taxpayer privacy. The agency works under laws that usually prohibit the release of personal information.
There is a process in place for a court to look at that and decide whether or not that information should be released.
This legal analyst notes President Donald Trump's attorneys fought in court to keep his own tax records private.
And there was this huge claim that there would be, in fact, that this was some privacy information that shouldn't be let out under federal law. And so that's really the issue here.
Many taxpayers have common names like John Smith. Advocates argue that could cause errors if the IRS worked with ICE.
We're inevitably going to be encroaching on the taxes and the privacy of American citizens.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
President Trump took to social media to complain about a portrait of himself displayed in the Colorado state capitol. The president accused Colorado's governor of intentionally distorting his image. Trump says that he would prefer no portrait instead of the one on display. Well, sad news on the health of former U.S. Representative Mia Love. The first black Republican congresswoman died yesterday after her long battle with an aggressive brain cancer. The 49-year-old's family announced her passing on X. Love was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2022. She had undergone recent treatment and immunotherapy as part of a clinical trial at Duke University's Brain Tumor Center. Love announced earlier this month her cancer treatment was no longer working. Segway is recalling more than 220,000 scooters after injuries from falls. The folding mechanism in Segway's 9-bot Max G30P and Max G30LP kick scooters can fail during use. That causes the handlebars or stem of the scooters to fold. Segway has received 68 reports of folding mechanism failures with 20 injuries that include cuts, bruises, and broken bones. Segway will provide anyone with the scooters a maintenance kit with tools and step-by-step instructions to inspect and adjust the scooter's locking mechanism as needed. Rising prices could make some Americans sip their morning cup of coffee. Ground roast coffee hit an average of $7.25 a pound last month. Arabica coffee also broke records in February, nearly doubling last year's average at $4.30 a pound. Threats of tariffs, weather, and crop growth are linked to the rising coffee prices. And the world's largest coffee producers say there was an influx in climate-related impacts to their crops last year. Well, Snow White is at the top of the box office, but it wasn't exactly a fairy tale debut. The live-action remake brought in about $43 million in its opening weekend. Early industry estimates predicted an opening of more than $50 million. It cost Disney more than $250 million to make it. Well, tonight, Wake County Deputy Robert Hunter will make another appearance on NBC's The Voice.
You can tell your old man you do some largemouth fishing.
Out of my way. Out of my way.
You just got too much on the plate.
Out of her way. Robert Hunter is a member of Kelsey Ballerini's team, and you can see how fast she turned her chair around when he first started singing in his first appearance on the show. He'll try to get past the show's battle rounds tonight. You can catch him on The Voice tonight at 8 o'clock on WRAL. Good luck. Well, traveling to Greenland, Second Lady Usha Vance making the trip this week. The reasons the White House is giving for her visit. Plus some big matchups, the local teams pushing for a spot in the next round.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. A pretty sunrise. No rain yet, but the rain is on the way. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner walks us through when it'll arrive.
Let's take a look at where it is right now. The heaviest rain and thunderstorms are way down along the Gulf Coast. There's some lightning up through Georgia and Alabama. None of that really in North Carolina at this point, but our best chance of rain comes a little closer to lunchtime between 10 and 11. It starts to move closer to the triangle, and by 2 o'clock or so, it's beginning to taper off with maybe just one or two isolated cells after that. We're starting to see the clouds thicken up, but there's still a little bit of blue sky right here in downtown Raleigh right now. We're seeing temperatures near 60, near 70 for the high this afternoon. Chris?
And Elizabeth, this morning, keeping an eye on the crash on I-540. This is going westbound near Creedmoor Road. Not seeing any major delays associated with that. In fact, I give you a look here at I-540 at Six Forks Road. This is a little over a mile away from the reported crash site, and I'm not seeing anything major. So again, certainly some good news there. We also saw a crash on I-87 that's cleared up. Sears Farm Road and Green Hope School Road. That's where we have another crash in Cary. We'll give you a better look at drive times coming up over on Fox 50.
Thanks, Chris. A new diverging diamond is complete on Airport Boulevard in Wake County. The Airport Boulevard Bridge over I-40 is now open. The diverging diamond keeps traffic flowing for drivers who are entering and exiting the interstate and eliminates the need for a left turn against oncoming traffic. And UNC and NC State will both try to reach the round of 16 today. NC State will take on Michigan State today at Reynolds Coliseum. UNC women are set to square off with West Virginia later today in Chapel Hill. The winner of this game will take on Duke on Friday. Next on Fox 50, the trouble crews in western North Carolina are facing as they try to control spreading fires.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Our two weather makers. First of all, today there's rain headed our way in just the next couple of hours. I'll show you the timeline for that. And then temperatures climb into the 80s in a few days. I'll show you when.
And diverging diamond, the new pattern on I-40 this morning that could make your commute easier. Plus, the tournament heating up today. UNC and NC State's women's teams fighting for a spot in the next round. What fans can expect. Thank you so much for sticking with us here on your Monday morning on Fox 50. I'm Michelle McConaughey. And sunny and nice now with a beautiful sunrise, but we are going to see some rain later today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking that front.
Yes, here it comes. It's likely to bring us some rain as early as 10 to 11 o'clock. The stronger part of the storm has been down near the Gulf Coast overnight and continues to be. We do have some severe thunderstorm watches down in Louisiana right now. We'll zoom in and talk about where the rain currently is. It's moving into Greensboro. Over here, here is Person County, so it's getting closer to Person County. Most likely it moves through the Triangle area closer to around 11 o'clock. That's when we'll see the best chance for rain. And then it tapers off to just 1 or 2 isolated showers or storms later on this afternoon. So the bulk of the morning commute is dry, and the bulk of the evening commute is dry. It's really midday that we're watching for rain. A little sun still trying to peek through here in downtown Apex as we look down Salem Street. It is breezy, a southwest wind at 13, gusting up to 25 this afternoon, and our current temperature of 59 degrees. We climb to nearly 60 later this afternoon. Coming up, we'll talk more about how much rain we could see with this system. Chris?
And Elizabeth, Monday mornings tend to be busy here in the WRAL traffic center, so thankfully the rain is off toward the west. Still have this crash that's being reported at I-540 westbound at Creedmoor Road. It's been reported for about the past 20 minutes or so, and I've not noticed any major delays. Usually when you see that happen, it means that these things have been moved off toward the shoulder. A crash that previously was reported at I-87 and 440, that has cleared over the course of the past half hour or so. You notice that traffic is moving a little more smoothly there on the traffic sensors and on the live cams. This is I-87 at New Hope Road. That was very congested about a half hour ago, but now things are flowing pretty smoothly. And just kind of your normal congestion here on I-40 at Lake Wheeler. This is right around exit 297. The exit marker that you see there on the right-hand side, that's for Gorman Street, so exit 295. Both directions, things seem to be flowing pretty smoothly for us in that part of Wake County. We'll broaden out the view here, and heading into the Triangle, only a 1-minute delay from Knightdale, heading into the capital city, I should say. About an 8-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest. No major delays if you're coming in from Garner, Apex, or Durham this morning.
All right, thank you, Chris. A new traffic pattern is open on Airport Boulevard on I-40. It's a diverging diamond where cars can drive on the left side of the road. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey reports the DOT hopes this will improve safety.
Starting today, you'll notice a change on your commute on Airport Boulevard. The road is now back open here after crews finished up their work over the weekend. This Sky 5 video shows you where the new diverging diamond is located. NCDOT closed the Airport Boulevard Bridge over I-40 to complete the finishing touches. The diverging diamond will keep traffic flowing for drivers who are entering and exiting the interstate, and it will eliminate the need for a left turn against oncoming traffic. It's designed to speed up traffic flow and reduce the chance for crashes. We'll be sure to keep you updated on this new traffic pattern throughout the day. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Wake County.
Evacuation orders are in place in western North Carolina as 3 wildfires are burning thousands of acres. The NC Forestry Service says the fire started in the Green River Gorge area of Polk County. They say the steep terrain making it challenging to fight the fires. Damage the area suffered from Helene is also making it difficult to access the area. The fires have burned more than 2,300 acres and are 0% contained. A code red air quality alert is in effect for Polk County. And a fire in Stokes County north of the Triad has burned more than 276 acres. North Carolina Forestry has a crew there helping local responders trying to contain it. Fire officials say weather conditions are hampering their efforts. The fire is 50% contained. And South Carolina is under a state of emergency as well as a wildfire has burned more than 1,000 acres at Table Rock State Park. That's in the northwestern part of the state. The local sheriff says the fire was caused by a campfire started by 2 negligent hikers. Crews will be on the Tar River in Franklin County again today, 1 week after a boy disappeared into the water. Crews have been using sonar scans to try and find the 7-year-old boy. They searched more areas of the water and land with drones and SBI dogs. Divers have now searched more than 11 miles from the point the boy was last seen last Monday. Today, Ukraine and Russia prepare for a round of peace talks in Saudi Arabia. President Trump says he's confident Ukraine and Russia are close to a ceasefire agreement. Despite this, strikes between the countries are ongoing. Russian airstrikes are targeting Ukraine's energy facilities, and Russia is now accusing the Ukrainians of a retaliatory strike on a gas facility in the Kursk region, which Ukraine denies. International leaders say the deal will only be effective if there are higher consequences for breaking it. Duke will play in the NCAA tournament's round of 16. The top seed Blue Devils will play 4th seed Arizona, who beat Oregon in the final game of round of 32. Duke and Arizona will tip off at 9:39 Thursday night in Newark. And Duke advanced with an 89-66 win over Baylor yesterday at Lenovo Center. We spoke with fans on their way out of the game. They say the atmosphere was like a home game for the Blue Devils.
It got real loud when Duke's got up and Duke started like taking over and like getting a couple leads, and it was like, all right.
If Duke can get past Arizona, they'll play either Alabama or BYU in the round of 8 on Saturday. And the Duke women also going to the round of 16. They advanced with a 59-53 win over Oregon yesterday at Cameron Indoor Stadium. They'll play the winner of today's game between UNC and West Virginia in the next round. And UNC and NC State will both try to reach the round of 16 today. As WRAL's Laura Levine reports, both teams will be on their home courts for this round.
Fans will not have to travel far to cheer on these local teams. Number 2 NC State will take on number 7 Michigan State here at Reynolds Coliseum later today. Tip-off is set for noon for the second round of the women's NCAA tournament. NC State is undefeated here at home this season. Meanwhile, Michigan State is 5-5 on the road. This comes after NC State crushed Vermont over the weekend 75-55. Now over to UNC women's team. The third-seeded Tar Heels are set to square off with number 6 seed West Virginia in the second round of NCAA play. That game begins at 7 p.m. at Carmichael Arena in Chapel Hill. A spot in the Sweet 16 is on the line for these teams. For UNC, it would be their first trip past the first weekend of the tournament since 2022. And the winner of this game will advance to take on Duke on Friday in Birmingham, Alabama. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And we will have reports later today from Reynolds Coliseum after NC State's game and from Carmichael Arena ahead of UNC's tip-off. Watch WRAL News from 4 to 7:30 this evening. Starting today, part of Andrew Avenue in Durham will be closed for the next several months. The road will be closed between Alston Avenue and South Hallman Street until late June. Crews will be working on water and sewer lines as well as grading construction. Detours will be posted. Well, coming up for us, 8:38 your time now, spring break dilemma. Immigration changes in the U.S. have college students questioning their travel plans. And Bill Murray at Lenovo Center, the surprise gesture making him an honorary Caniac this weekend. .42 on your Monday morning as you take a live look at Zebulon. Pretty blue skies there. It looks like a nice morning. Rain will start to kind of enter the chat in just a couple of hours. Some much needed rain, Elizabeth, but we're really not going to see a lot of it from this front here.
That's the unfortunate part. Yeah, this one's going to come and go fairly quickly. It does mean that it's not likely to impact the morning commute too much, which is a good thing. We do have some stronger storms here along the Gulf Coast, and there's been some thunder and lightning through Georgia and Alabama. But for North Carolina, as this front moves through, we're kind of in sort of some no man's land of a little less energy and a little less moisture. We're seeing some rain that keeps trying to push toward Greensboro, but it's been fairly slow, pushing eastward in the last hour to 2 hours. We take a look at Futurecast, and you can see here at 8:30 that band of rain still back to our west. This is going to be a slightly slower timeline. This is the new run of the computer model, which more accurately reflects what's going on out there. So at 10 a.m., just our northeastern counties, Person County, a little bit of Granville County and Orange County seeing a bit of rain. And then that continues to slip eastward. We'll pause it right there at lunchtime. And that's when we'll see the rain moving through the triangle from South Hill to Durham to Rocky Mount to Raleigh, all the way down through Fayetteville and Southern Pines. Then it slides eastward, and about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it is out of the viewing area. There might still be some lingering clouds and a quick sprinkle or two that pops up in a few spots all the way into the evening. But the bulk of the rain will happen right here through the middle of the day. Taking a live look at Apex, we're looking to the west, and you can see the gray skies there. In some parts of the viewing area, we're still seeing some sunshine peeking through the clouds, but that will change as this moves eastward. 59 degrees is our temperature in the Triangle, 59 in Goldsboro, 57 Fayetteville, 54 in South Hill, and a few more temperatures locally, 57 in Cary and Garner, 55 in Holly Springs, and 57 in Knightdale. Wind speeds, we're gusting already to 25 there in Goldsboro. Winds are mainly 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the south, which is really warming things up. And this afternoon, those gusts will be at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Our tree pollen is down to medium for today because of that potential for rain, but it bounces right back up to high for Tuesday and Wednesday. Pine pollen is out there, oak, a lot of allergens in the atmosphere, and that yellow pine pollen that causes messy conditions. We'll be in the upper 60s to low 70s for high temperatures this afternoon. Our normal low is a chilly 42, and we'll drop below that into the 30s for Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon also looking chilly, but it won't last long. Highs are back into the 80s over the weekend.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. A storm brought hail to Texas. Look at this. This video is from Kerrville, which is near San Antonio. Some of the pieces of hail were golf ball sized or larger. A woman took this video of the hail coming down on her roof. You can see it bouncing off the ground as it hit her backyard. Oh, my goodness. Well, spring is here, but it's already feeling like summer for people across the West. Forecasters say a heat wave is rolling in, expecting to bring record highs in the 80s, 90s, even 100s in some areas. Phoenix could hit 100 degrees as early as Tuesday, possibly setting a new record. The unusual March warmth is the start of what forecasters say is set to be a warm season across most of the country. And for many university students, today marks the start of spring break. But with concerns over changes in the immigration policy under the Trump administration, some international students are opting to or are even being advised to avoid leaving the country. Alyssa Gord reports.
As spring break begins on some college campuses, some international students say this year they're not traveling back home during the break or going anywhere outside the U.S.
I was afraid not to enter back to the United States because of all the new president and all that stuff.
In light of increased immigration enforcement under the Trump administration, plus talks of a potential travel ban, some international students are being directly advised by their universities not to travel, even if they have visas.
I received an email from the international office, and they recommend me to not travel because it was so dangerous, like the coming back here and all the immigrations and all that stuff.
At UC Berkeley, for example, the international office says that if you have a student, scholar, or employee immigration status and you travel outside of the U.S., they can't guarantee that you can return back in a timely manner.
We have green card holders like Mahmoud Khalil being arrested, people being denied entry that most people would assume would have been welcomed back.
Attorney Jeff Wozniak says there's growing concern in the legal circles he works in about what he describes as the unpredictability of immigration enforcement. To international students, he recommends
to stay put and enjoy your spring break locally.
For this international student, it means no trips to see family or vacations abroad.
But yeah, it's fine. We can just stay here till we graduate, then we make our plan.
We've paid where we have dreams to get degrees from our dream colleges and to play sport here and just make a difference in the world.
These two field hockey athletes say this uncertainty leaves them disappointed and confused.
That was Alyssa Gord reporting. The IRS is close to finalizing an agreement to use its data to help ICE locate undocumented migrants. According to a person familiar with the matter, the agreement would require Immigration and Customs Enforcement to submit names and addresses of people if suspects living in the country illegally to the IRS. The agency, in turn, would then cross-reference and confirm the information. Laws already prohibit improper disclosure of taxpayer information, and it would amount to a major shift by the agency. Two immigrant rights groups in Chicago sued the Treasury Department and the IRS earlier this month. Second Lady Usha Vance heading to Greenland this week. The White House says the trip is intended to celebrate Greenland's culture. Vance will watch the country's national dog sled race. Before and after taking office, President Trump expressed interest in taking the island by force or economic coercion, most recently during remarks to a joint session of Congress.
And Michelle, as the White House frames the Second Lady's visit as a cultural trip, Greenland's prime minister has a different take, telling media outlets that the upcoming visit is, quote, highly aggressive. U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz is also expected to visit Greenland this week. President Trump's idea to annex Greenland has thrown an international spotlight on the self-governing territory of Denmark. And the Prime Minister of Denmark telling Reuters that the visit from the U.S. delegation is, quote, something we take seriously. She says Denmark wants to cooperate with the U.S., but that should be based on the rules of sovereignty.
All right, thank you, Renee. An important statewide change could be coming after a WRAL investigation. A state lawmaker is presenting legislation to create stronger regulations on tattooing in our state. In a previous WRAL news story, we highlighted the 0 training hours required to be permitted to tattoo in North Carolina. State lawmaker Representative Julie Von Hafen saw that story after working with the Raleigh tattoo shop owner who sparked our initial investigation. Von Hafen actually drafted a bill to improve tattoo regulations.
I think if we can get everyone on board with what we're trying to do, that will also raise the support for maybe future, requirements.
And tonight at 6 on WRAL News, hear what first steps she's proposing to protect tattoo customers and artists. Well, many of us struggle to get enough sleep, but not getting a good night's rest can have you feeling more than just tired. It can also make you hungrier. Dr. Nancy Foldvary says our appetite hormones get thrown off and may make us eat more the next day when we're sleep deprived. We also tend to crave more unhealthy foods. So if you're having trouble sleeping, it's important to create a regular nighttime routine. Also, aim to wake up at the same time each day. Dr. Foldvary adds that avoiding that afternoon cup of coffee can also help.
Caffeine can have a widely variable half-life. It can linger in the central nervous system far beyond what you might expect. And so some of us are really sensitive to that and really can't have caffeine beyond early morning. And certainly drinking caffeine or eating foods with caffeine, including chocolate, after noon or 2 p.m. is likely to lead to some sleep fragmentation.
So if you continue to toss and turn at night, Dr. Foldvary recommends seeing a sleep specialist to get some help. A post-World War II epic and an award-winning actor and rapper are among the new movie and music releases available to add to your home library. Ashley Dvorkin runs down the list.
What do you think? It's unusual.
The post-World War II epic The Brutalist tops this week's list of what's new in home entertainment. Adrian Brody stars as a Jewish-Hungarian Holocaust survivor who immigrates to the U.S. to rebuild his life as an architect.
Look, Gracie.
The stop-motion animation Memoir of a Snail centers on a snail-collecting misfit navigating a life of loss and loneliness after being separated from her twin brother.
I'm just not going with you.
Ewan McGregor, Ellen Burstyn, Rhys Ifans, and Taylor Russell star in Mother Couch, an indie film about 3 adult children reunited when their mother refuses to move from a couch in a furniture store.
You guys hear about the couple in their 90s who got a divorce? They waited for the kids to die.
Griffin Dunn is a man facing a midlife crisis after his wife of 35 years leaves him in the comedy drama Ex-Husbands. The 90s classic Tommy Boy, starring late comedian Chris Farley and David Spade, celebrates its 30th anniversary with a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. Farley and Spade play traveling salesmen who hit the road to save the Callahan family's auto parts business.
This is terrible!
Small screen favorites to own the final season of the animated comedy Star Trek Lower Decks. For music fans, Alison Krauss and Union Station released their first new album in 14 years, Arcadia. British rock band The Darkness dropped Dreams on Toast.
I got will until the wheels fall off.
And Will Smith's new album, based on a true story, is his first in 20 years. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
A celebrity guest drew some attention during NCAA tournament action at Lenovo Center. Yeah, look who it is. Actor Bill Murray was in the crowd to cheer on the UConn Huskies. His son Luke is an assistant coach for the team. Hurricanes Holdings president Doug Worf presented Murray with a personalized Canes jersey. Worf says Murray wished the Canes the best in the playoffs, making him an honorary Caniac. All right, before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check of weather and traffic next.